Last week, Wednesday, the Nigeria Air Force disclosed that one of its aircraft on a mission in the northern part of Nigeria lost radar contact. The missing Alpha jet of the Nigeria Air Force was discovered to have crashed at Abajile in Konduga local government area of Borno State. Officials say that the Alpha jet was carrying out a mission against Boko Haram terrorists in Borno State when it went missing. Although Boko Haram claimed responsibility for taking down the Air Force aircraft, the Nigeria Air Force says that the missing NAF Alpha jet aircraft was not shot down by Boko Haram. However, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, believes that the event of the past few days involving the unfortunate crash of an Alpha jet aircraft should inspire and spur Nigeria Air Force pilots, technicians, and ground troops to remain resolute, unrelenting, and undeterred in the fight against insurgency in the northeast and other parts of the country. So joining us now to discuss this from our studio in Abuja is security consultant, Commodore Abimbola Ayuba, retired. Commodore Ayuba, it's good to have you join us now on this program. So joining us now to discuss this from our studio in Abuja. Great. And we also have a lecturer from the University of Calabar and US-trained and licensed remote pilot for unmanned aerial systems joining us right now, Prince Will Odum. Dr. Prince Will, it's good to have you join me now.
Good morning, and it's glad to have you.
Great. Now, let's start from Abuja. Commodore Ayuba, I know you've been following this development of especially talking about the when one of the Air Force aircraft went missing on Wednesday, and then we saw a viral video released by Boko Haram claiming that they had shot down the aircraft. What do you make of that video, especially when the Air Force comes out to say that that video was doctored? All right, I understand Commodore Ayuba is not, we have connection challenge there. We'll put you on. Now let's switch over to Prince Will, Dr. Odum. Now, Odum, when it comes to the use of drones, a lot of people would say that certainly the use of manned aircraft is reducing now and drones are taking over. You are a drone specialist. Talk to us really when it comes to the use of drones and drone technology. How ready is Nigeria and how much of that are we using?
Good morning, viewers. First of all, before I go into how ready Nigeria is, I'd like to debunk the claims of Boko Haram that they shot down that Alpha jet. I think if you watch the videos they propagated, their propaganda, you see clearly that the speed with which the ground-to-air missile hit the aircraft, the speed with which it was landing on fire, if it had crashed at that speed on the rough terrain, it would be total robust. In their video, they were stepping on some metal plates that had NFA and so on. I really feel that if that video was not doctored, you wouldn't even have enough of those parts for them to step on and say they shut down that. Well, I will go with the Chief of Air Staff that until more investigations are done. How ready is Nigeria? I will not be able to answer that question directly. I will be able to just talk about the technology that we can harness to solve all our security problems and challenges. And that technology is the unmanned aerial vehicles, drones. What that does is it reduces the number of boots in the fields and the number of aircrafts in the air. So we have more eyes in the skies in form of unmanned aerial vehicles, aerial systems, drones that are there, where if one is shut down, we could still put in more because they will be cheaper and we have less human casualties. But I think Nigeria is getting there. I've been at the Defense Academy and I see the kind of work they are doing. They are trying to put one or two things together, and I think we have more to do because I've not seen more of the use of these drones. For example, in 2014, the United States had retired well over 10,000 drones in operations. Retired. That means they've used them, and that's in 2014. This is in public domain on the World Wide Web. And these are different categories of drones. So if we talk about drones, the average Nigerian is thinking about some DJI, some toys we see for photography, cinematography, in burials, in birthday parties. Those are not the kind of military category drones we are really talking about. They are higher, more sophisticated drones that are used for all the levels of operations of war, the levels of war, from the strategic to the tactical to the operational levels of war. There are different drones that will serve this same purpose without really putting much boots on the ground, without losing men and losing bigger aircrafts. That can even do precision airstrikes, like what happened to the defense chief, Soleimani, and he was taken out just with a drone, just precision, just his car and maybe the next guy at an airport, and life went on after that without much damage. So I think there's so much more we can do as a country. If we don't harness this technology on time, I'm afraid the enemies will want to start harnessing it before us. So it's better we take a step further and see how we can reduce the number of boots on the ground. That's my take. On preparedness, I can't rate in percentage yet, because security information you have to give with facts and figures, and it's not everything you see on national TV.
All right.
So I cannot.
We'll come back to this, Dr. Odum. We'll come back to this. Now, let's cross over to Abuja, where Commodore Abimbola Yuba is standing by. Commodore Yuba, it's good to have you join me now. I was talking earlier, but you couldn't hear me, but I'm happy you're on now. Now, you've been following this development on the issue, the fight against terrorism in Nigeria. And as it is right now, Nigeria is winning some of the battles here and there, but the war is far from over. If we take a cue from one of the aircraft that was missing on Wednesday, what do you make of that, especially when Boko Haram comes out to say that they were responsible for it, even though the Air Force has said that the video was doctored?
It's lost again.
All right, Commodore Ayuba, I guess we're still having a connectivity issue there. Can you hear me now?
Okay, Mike, if you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yes, it's a sad thing that the Alpha jet of the Air Force was reported missing on its way back from a mission, and obviously it is now presumed as crashed. And of course, the authorities, especially the Chief of Air Staff, have spoken prominently on the issue, and that they are already making efforts to recover the fragments of the fuselage from its crash site. Of course, let's give it to the Chief of Air Staff, because some of these issues are issues of national security. And of course, I believe they will get back to us at the appropriate time with the details of the incident. But I must say that it's not unusual to have crashes, even while pilots are training, that you could have air crashes. It's just one of the price that we have to pay in the quest to secure our national territorial integrity. Now back to the Boko Haram video. If you look at some of the root causes of terrorism, you will understand that some of the facilitator causes of terrorism has been identified to be the modernization of the news media, and of course access to internet, which makes it very easy for people, to mischief makers even, to Photoshop and do a lot of false of fake news reporting. But that is one of the strengths of terror groups, propaganda, and of course, they want to thrive on it, and they want to ensure that they continue to lower the morale of people, which is what the security forces need to resist by being more robust in information management and ensure that we don't get videos like this out without counteracting them in quick time. The public deserve to know something, but of course, the dilemma is the security implication of releasing information concerning military assets, especially in times of hostilities.
All right. Now, some people have said that at this time, fighting the kind of war we're fighting against terrorism, that Nigeria doesn't need men in the sky. The only thing they need is eyes in the sky. And then talking about the issue of unmanned aerial facility when it comes to the use of drones. What you are a specialist in that area too when it comes to flying and Air Force and all of that. Talk to us basically. Why is Nigeria still, or let me say, are we maximizing the use of drones in such areas? Commodore Yuba.
Oh, well, when you look at the terrain in which these operations are being held, they are multivarious and they are multidimensional. And of course, given the level of technology that is available to us in Nigeria, you will understand that the usage of unarmed aerial vehicles are quite important for reconnaissance purposes. But when you are dealing with actual war situations where you know that your enemies are lodged somewhere, what you need to do is to get effectors to go along with your drones. So that's the essence of armed recce, armed reconnaissance missions, which ensures that pilots fly, locate enemy movements and locations, and take them out, because that is what air operations is all about, putting the fear of God into the enemy and degrading the enemy's capability to function, and therefore bringing them on their knees. That is what an effective air asset is designed to do. We need to do more. We need to get more assets for the Air Force and indeed the Armed Forces to do this critical job. I continue to say, why build railways when these railways can be blown up? Why build roads that can be bridges that can be blown off by terrorists? Buy weapons. Let us put a timeline to it. Let us declare a national emergency on this terrorism, and let us win the war once and for all, and then revert back to reconstruction. That is my take, Mike.
Okay. All right, Dr. Odum, let me come to you on this. You are a drone specialist, and as it is right now, talk to us or share with us how useful or effective is the use of drones in the fight against terrorism like we are fighting right now?
Okay, drones going to find use in different aspects, depending on the kind of drone you want to use and what level of application of drones. For example, we have a very tiny Black Hornet drone that is as small as or smaller than a remote control, that each individual soldier in most developed countries can use, that can be strapped anywhere and has a small controller that leaves you to still carry your arm. You release that, go forward for about 2 miles, goes around corners to see before you engage. If each soldier has that, for example, some of the ambushes we have will not have them. These things are less than 16 grams. They are not heavy. So before, each soldier in a platoon would have used their own to look around before they engage. Some of the ambushes we hear can be taken care of. We have other classes of drones, from the class 1 to class 2. There may not be time to give all the NATO classifications of drones. But from surveillance to situational and environmental awareness of what's happening around you, it'll be fine to have a drone that's about 100 and many feet or meters above ground that looks ahead up to some kilometers, like 10 kilometers away before you engage. And we know we have technical issues with charging and all that, but really if we start at some level, some of these taking unaware, some of these ambushes we hear about can be seen before get, even in search and rescue. When we talk drones, we don't just talk about drones that use your RGB visible cameras. We have drones that can do infrared, night vision, and so on. Some high-level image processing. It's possible to also get to process to know where people pass through. You can't take hundreds of students to pass through a forest without affecting vegetation, breaking some branches, falling some leaves, and so on. And the vegetation stress can be measured if drone images are processed using normalized difference in vegetation index, where the sensors measure chlorophyll or detect and measure chlorophyll. So where the chlorophyll is affected, just even slightly, you'll be able to know that, yeah, there was a movement, there was a footprint here. People passed through this place, and with that, you'll be able to do so. There are just different kinds of drones, different kinds of applications.
Yeah, but Dr. Doom, Dr. Doom, let me butt in here a little bit. There are different kinds of drones, and we see some of them even in movies or read about them on the internet. But if we come to the realities of what we have and what we have access to and have the capacity to in Nigeria, do we have what it takes to own those in Nigeria? Can we produce those, or you're talking about us buying from the United States?
You can buy. Even in buying, those drones are not sold to individuals. They are not sold. They are only sold to armed forces, and it has to come from your armed forces to them, to the companies. They don't just sell to anybody. I'm sure they will not want to sell such high-grade military drones to terrorists. So they cannot sell to you until you are a certified military organization of a country. And if we have to buy such, training is not an issue, because I know Nigerians are very intelligent people. All we need is collaborative synergy, either with the experts who we work with the military, or the military get the training here on ground, or even get the training abroad. But I'm sure that if we have the willpower, we can harness all this technology. With countries like Turkey, other countries which even the United States rates as countries that have very low index, high index in terrorism, are able to access those kind of drones. Why not we, Nigeria, can also, with our goodwill, acquire this kind of drones too, those military-grade drones we're talking about.
All right. Commodore Ayuba, let me come to you on this. The Air Force is seen as very instrumental to ending the war against terror when it comes to flying in the air and having an area view of what is going on before the military does whatever it does. I wonder how much of that we are using. We've been talking about the Super Tucano aircraft that we're expecting in Nigeria. Will that really be the antidote or the final answer to terrorism that we are all waiting for?
Thank you, Mike. The Super Tucanos, gladly when they come into service, will help a lot to influence the speed of the battle. However, it's just a means to an end. There are many more equipments that are required. And by the way, the role of the Air Force is multivarious. It's also have to do with airlift capability and troop insertions. We need heavy helicopters like the Chinooks that will be able to move troops and equipment, insert them well forward of the battle area to influence particular operations, and also be able to recover them at deadline. So it's important for everybody to sit down and look at the jointness of battle and the importance of joint planning, joint intelligence, joint logistics, as well as equipment procurement, which is quite critical in this particular matter. Otherwise, the Air Force, like sister services, the Navy and the Army, have critical roles to play to end this war on terror. And the time to acquire those equipments is now.
Now, a lot of other people feel that investing so much, Commodore Ayuba, I'm still staying with you on this. A lot of people say that
Yes,
investing on this heavy equipment at times like this may not necessarily be sustainable, especially when the government is talking about a shortfall in resources. When we've seen the Air Force invent some drones, we've seen the Army invent some, even the Navy has invented some drones. How about the use of drones? How effective will that be in the fight against terrorism, Commodore Ayuba?
In a multi-dimensional war, Mike, drones will have a role to play within the scope of surveillance and, of course, reporting. And, of course, you know that drones have various capabilities and various applications. People should not look at the commercial effectiveness of what drones are capable of doing now, but are they able to move, progress at a fast rate to evade the anti-air equipment of the enemy? Can they discriminate targets? Can they also identify moving targets? And of course, these are the role of very sophisticated drones, which the Air Force is making good effort to invent, of course. And locally, we must begin to look at the importance of our military industrial complex, invigorating them. The DIC in Kaduna has been there doing next to nothing. We need to take it serious now that most of the equipments that we need and that true to type to our current security situation can be produced locally, and where they cannot be found locally or manufactured locally or assembled locally, we need to go and get friends that can give us those weapons at whatever conditions. You should not be saying that there's no money, yet we hear of corruption cases every day in Nigeria. If you buy these equipments, there will be little or nothing to take by default. They will be used for national access that will create the enabling environment that government is looking for to be able to grow the economy and ensure the economic survivability plan of this particular administration.
Okay, we have to leave you here now. Commodore Abimbola Ayuba, retired. Thank you very much for talking to us on TVC Breakfast. We also thank you, Dr. Prince Will Odum,
thank you, Mike,
your insight into all of this. We thank you for joining us from Calabar. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.